Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and Discovering Bands, and for everyone watching or shares video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm back with Cyborg Amok. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
Great to have you. It's been since I think 2 years, unbelievably, since we did our last interview. And tell us what you guys have been up to since that time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember the first interview we did with you was from our first record. That was a while. That was in like 2019 or something like that. But yeah, we just put out the new record, and I'm glad to be here. I know you've gone off and did a lot of that epic exploring stuff, which has exploded for you, and I'm really happy for you. But I'm also happy that you decided that you're going to come back and do a couple of bands, because the timing was right for us to put this record out and have you talk to us. So it's always fun to have a conversation with friends.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. And Bryden, how would you describe the new record musically? Like, for me, it has more of an alternative feel. What would you say?
I'd definitely say it has more of an alternative feel. I think it also has a bit more of a metal feel, and also a bit more of a grungier punk, somewhat punk feel. But I feel like that's also due to the great musicians we hired having a lot of a background and that kind of thing. Mark Gemini Thwaite brings a lot of that to the table in his style of playing.
I want to say you had an issue there with SoundCloud with one of your songs. You want to go into that?
Yeah. Well, this record's a bunch of the songs. Probably half the songs on this record have been. I don't know. I guess they're a little politically fired. I mean, I'm talking about some of the issues that are going on in the world right now. So we did this song called that Bryden and I actually did the whole song, instrumentally and everything. Didn't bring in anybody else for this one, called "The Order of Disorder," and So, some of the lyrics in the song set off it must have been an AI filter on SoundCloud, and the song actually talks about basically it talks about the things that have gone on over the last few years, a little bit of authoritarianism, kind of. It just calls out authoritarianism. And not in any way of being threatening or hate speech or anything like that. But one day I put this thing up on the record up before it actually was released. I put it up on SoundCloud so that we could have some people that we wanted key people to be able to listen to it as a private link. And I woke up one morning and I looked, and they had taken this song down and wrote and had this note and said, if you smack me on the hand if you do it again, we're going to kick you off of SoundCloud. And the reason we did it was because it had hate speech, and you're promoting hate and whatever other things that they had talked about. When in fact, it was really just calling out authoritarianism, which is something that's, like it or not, I don't know what your beliefs are, but that's an issue these days. People are seeing that happening, and this song called it out, and it got kicked off of SoundCloud. So we deleted both of our SoundCloud accounts because I just thought that was ridiculous. And if the song had really been promoting fascism or anything like that, I could see it, but it was anything but that. So,
scary times we live in, right? Like, as an artist, you can't even really express yourself fully now with this algorithms, AI stuff, right?
I know. That's the whole thing that was so freaky, because then I thought, I hadn't put it out with our distributors yet. So then I thought, well, now we're going to have a problem with trying to put the record out, because there's other songs that point out the same kind of thing, go in that same direction. Not the whole record, but there was a point in time I was writing stuff, and we put that stuff out. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And fortunately, when we put it out, the company we put it out through, Apple Music, Spotify, everybody accepted it. It wasn't a problem. And the big place we have it, I mean, the main place we have it on is Bandcamp. That's, our favorite store for our music. And they didn't have a problem with it either. So it was just SoundCloud. I don't know what the deal with them is, and I don't know, But, hey, it's their loss, and, good riddance. I don't know that anybody even really uses SoundCloud, so.
Brian, I want to say, what would you say you're most proud of with the new record?
I think the mixing. I think the mixing and the direction musically, it's a lot more of a, I don't know if I'd say aggressive sound, but everything I feel like sounds more full. Everything has more groove. Everything has more drive. I think for myself and for my father, we've come a long way and developing our style, but who we are as artists and how we want to go about putting the music together. Having great musicians helps with that, but if you don't have a clear vision, then no amount of great musicians will help with that. But I feel like this is the album that we've had the most clear vision of what style we're going for, what sound we're going for. I know for myself as a drummer and doing background vocals, I had the most clear idea of how I wanted to present myself in both my singing and my playing, in what kind of direction I wanted to help push or aid the song in. And when we got into the mixing process afterwards, or the process with the synths and what Mark and Emilio did on the album, it kind of all just came together a lot more, and it was a lot more poignant, might be the right word this time around, and a lot more fuller is the word. I'm going to keep using it because every time I listen to it, I feel like it just sounds so robust and full, just kind of throughout.
All right. Now, I know 2 years ago you were a little unsure of the future of Cyborg Amok, and now there's a new record and everything. So how did that all come to be inspired?
Well, I'm still unsure of the future of Cyborg Amok. I mean, as an artist, anybody that's out there that, that writes music and does records and does and whatever as an artist, could even be visual arts, but it's tough. There's a lot of starving artists out there, so you get frustrated when things aren't going well, and fortunately for us, we have actually done well, and people gravitate to our records and they like them. And I've had a lot of, especially with this one, I've had a lot of compliments on it. I think the future of Cyborg Amok is kind of where it always has been. Let's wait and see where it goes. When we started out, Bryden was still in high school. We decided to put a record together, and it was our first shot, and Bryden didn't have a lot of experience. So the record came out. That was our first interview that we had done with you, and it did pretty well. I mean, people gravitated to it and played it. It still some of the songs on it still get played. The videos, still get played on YouTube. The second record came out, and we did okay, but what happened, we started doing live shows for the second record, and doing live shows is tough. We do a show and there'd be 50, 100 people. We had a one show we did, it was wall to wall packed, and then we do a couple shows after that and you'd be like 6 people in the room, and so that makes it frustrating. So we stopped doing shows when we knew that we were going to be doing this album. We had a bunch of stuff written. We had gone up and worked with David Barron on a song that Bryden did called Why Not, which is kind of a bonus track on this record. And when we did that, we just kept talking, and we had this material, and we're like, listen, let's just do another record. And working with David was awesome, but we also, Emilio has been my friend for a long time, and I went to see him performing with Peter Murphy one night and met Mark, and Mark is an amazing guitar player, and that night he became one of my favorite guitar players. I loved his style, loved what he was doing. So when this record came about, we were working with David, and we did Why Not. We brought Emilio and Mark in for that record, or for that song. We did two versions of the song, a solo version for Bryden and the Cyborg Amok version for us. And once that happened, we were just re-energized to do another record. So in doing so, I talked to Emilio, and he jumped right on board. I mentioned it to Mark. He got on board, and they did I think about a little more than half of the record with us. And I think, to be honest, like Bryden and I do what we do, and we're better now as songwriters and producers and all those things than we were 5-6 years ago, whatever. But the thing that really makes this album stand out is bringing in pros like Mark and Emilio. They stepped it up. It's got more cohesiveness to the record. Mark's guitar style fits exactly what we're trying to do and what we were trying to say with this record. I think the future of Cyborg Amok is good. I think that this record we're really proud of it. A lot of it has to do with the people that we've surrounded ourselves with to put it together. And then I think that, the next phase, while this record sort of rides and goes down the road, see where it ends up, is we're going to start working on some of Bryden's solo material. We're going to put out a couple of singles for him. We have some singles that, well, they weren't singles, they're not singles yet, but we have some songs that didn't make the record. That I've talked to Mark and Emilio. They're both, looking to be involved in these songs. So we'll send them the stuff probably in another couple of months, let this record move a little bit. And then we'll put out some Cyborg Amok singles probably later in the year. And then we'll see where it goes,
Do you have an idea what the next single might be?
Yeah, we have a song called Straight Jacket Waltz that we did it. We recorded most of it, but I didn't have Emilio and Mark do any recording on it yet. And then we were going to, and then it ended up this record took forever for us to get it to where we could put it out. And in the end, there was a couple of songs on it that I just decided that in order for the record to go out now, instead of waiting until next summer, this coming summer, that we just cut like 2 songs. And one of them is Straight Jacket Waltz. And so that'll probably be the first single, maybe at the end of the summer, that comes out after this. And I want to get some of Bryden's stuff done, which I'm producing. So, it's great to work with his ideas and do his thing. So I think that there'll be that single, and then there'll be some others. We have a whole, like Bryden and I sit around, I've got piles of songs in the pipeline. We could go into the studio and pull out a handful of songs and just say, okay, which one do we want to do, at this point. So we'll see what happens, but I think we're going to do it. We're okay. The future is going to be okay. And like I said, Bryden, we're going to do some stuff for him. There'll be more Cyborg Amok down the road, and then we'll see what happens.
Awesome, and while we're talking about it, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your solo stuff?
I'm still trying to find the words and way to describe the style as much as I can. It started out because we went and recorded Why Not up with David Barron, and I credit David a lot to finding kind of my sound a little bit, because all the music I've released and going to release is just me sitting in my room and messing around on a piano and coming up with song names and then choruses or whatever. It's just me sitting around on a piano. Mostly, a lot of the times, the best stuff I write is just ideas I've had from being at music school and being like, that sounds nice, or that sounds good, and I'll just throw it in there. And I've started writing in a journal and pulling stuff from that. But the way I describe my solo work going forward is really if Noah Kahn or Lord Huron or Michael McCargy mixed with Dayglow or Yacht Club or Wallows or stuff like that. I've always had a very huge spot for indie pop, and Why Not was kind of in that vein, and Nights Alone kind of went in the direction of more folk and country. And I started to say to myself, well, I like all these things a lot, and this is what moves my soul and comes from within me. So why don't I just see what happens if I mix the things I love the most together and see what, kind of just see what happens. It's if you're a Cyborg Amok fan, as much as I would want you to be a fan of what I do, I will say it's a bit polarizing listening to that and then listening to me, because they're not complete opposites, but they're very much not in the same vein of one another. But I think it's really good to have that kind of duality and be able to show a different side that I don't get to very often. And it's fun and nice for me to kind of dig super, super deep within myself and pull out emotions or thoughts and feelings that, I just have sitting on my mind and can actually express it in a way such as music. But going forward, if you listen to me, it's gonna be basically if Why Not and Nights Alone were one entity of a style of music. I don't know what it's called yet, but I'll figure that out when the time comes, I guess. I'm 20. I just turned 20, so I guess I have a lot of time to figure that one out.
I think one of the things, Mike, too, and I'm just going to interject a little bit off of what Bryden said, is that when Cyborg Amok started out, and what was it, 2019, I think it was, we started. He was still in high school, and I had a bunch of songs, and we had a guitar player we were working with, and we started putting the stuff together. But it was real loose, and we didn't really have a direction. Fast forward to now. We've done a lot of work together in the studio. Bryden's influences have definitely, like if you listen to Cyborg Amok music, it's got the dark vibe because of my lyrics and my sensibility of how I write music. But there's a lot of things, especially on this record, that Bryden has brought to the table that, organically we fit together, we work together. My production style, I produce his solo stuff, so if you listen to the production style of what he's doing and what we do with Cyborg Amok, there's a similar production style with the way things weave in and out musically. But I think that, and even on the song that SoundCloud banned, Bryden is singing the lead vocal on the chorus, and we've done a couple of songs, including Why Not and Cars, where we've had him sing lead vocals. So I think organically, it's not a huge leap between the two of what he's doing and what we're doing. But I definitely think that Cyborg Amok has got that dark vibe, and Bryden's lyrics and Bryden's songs are more upbeat, and definitely Cyborg Amok is, a little more, like you said, a little more alternative indie kind of vibe now with some of the punk vibe and grungy stuff that we're doing. And with his stuff, I think that together there really is kind of an amalgam there of what's coming out of both of us. But if you like Cyborg Amok, Bryden's solo stuff might not be for you. If Bryden's solo stuff, if you really dig that, and has a lot of fans on Spotify and whatnot, and Cyborg Amok might not be for you. It's so whatever people like, man. We're out there doing it. We're not going to stop. We do it from our hearts, and that's what we do.
Awesome. Now, if people want to find Cyborg Amok online on social media, get your music, how do they do that?
Oh, well, we got www.cyborgamok.com is our website, and you can go there, find out about the band, but also they'll have we have Instagram there, we have Facebook links there, our YouTube links there. There might be a SoundCloud button still there because I haven't gone in and changed it, but it doesn't go anywhere. So I would say the best place is www.cyborgamok.com, and that'll get you anywhere you need to go. Or if you go to Bandcamp and put in Cyborg Amok. Now the Bandcamp site also has Bryden stuff, and it's my music site for all the music that I've produced. So there's other stuff there. If you wanted to check out Bryden's stuff, he's got it on Spotify, Bryden Bullock. So, we're out there, and we're a couple of pages of Google. So if you just put in Cyborg Amok into Google, tons of stuff pop up, including, I think, some of your videos, some of our interviews.
Awesome. Well, it was great having you guys back again, talking with you, and everyone look them up.